The United States ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, laid out what the Trump administration claims is irrefutable evidence that Iran has deliberately violated its international obligations and has tried to cover up these violations. Haley accused Iran of a blatant violation of UN Security Council obligations designed to rein in its missile activity. The ambassador has called on the UN Security Council to take a tougher stance toward Iran, accusing Tehran of making illegal arms deal in Yemen, Lebanon and Syria. Meanwhile, the Iranian administration has rejected Nikki Haley's accusation. It claims that the accusation is intended to divert attention from the devastating war in Yemen being led by US key ally Saudi Arabia. Amid the outcry over Donald Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, US Vice President Mike Pence's visit to Israel has been delayed. Pence's office confirmed he will now leave Washington on Tuesday, stopping in Egypt for a brief visit before arriving in Israel for a multi-day visit. He was originally scheduled to arrive in Israel on Sunday. The Palestinian and religious leaders have refused to meet US Vice President Mike Pence during his visit. Palestinian Foreign Minister has said that the leadership had decided there would be no formal communication with US officials in the wake of Trump's Jerusalem decision. In retaliation for Trump administration's decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital, Islamic State has threatened attacks on US soil. In a message on one of its accounts on the Telegram instant messaging service titled "Wait for Us" and ISIS in Manhattan, the group said it would carry out operations and showed images of New York's Times Square and what appeared to be an explosive bomb belt and detonator. Amid the ongoing war of words between the United States and North Korea, Pyongyang has now warned that it would take merciless self-defensive measures if the US enforces a naval blockade. North's foreign ministry spokesperson said a naval blockade would be a wanton violation of the country's sovereignty and dignity, adding that North Korea was a responsible nuclear power. Chinese President Xi Jinping has said that a war must not be allowed to break out on the Korean peninsula. Xi made the comments to visiting South Korean President Moon Jae-in just days after US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson offered to begin direct talks with North Korea without preconditions. Walt Disney has agreed to buy film, television and international businesses from Rupert Murdoch's 21st Century Fox Inc. for $52.4 billion in stock. Fox assets that will be sold to Disney include the 20th Century Fox movie and cable networks. Disney will also assume about $13.7 billion of net debt of 21st Century Fox. Chief Executive of Disney, Bob Iger, is set to extend his tenure through the end of 2021 to oversee the integration. The U.S. Federal Communications Commission voted along party lines to repeal landmark 2015 rules aimed at ensuring a free and open internet. This sets up a court fight over a move that could recast the digital landscape. FCC says the move will protect consumers at far less cost to investment than the prior rigid and wide-ranging utility rules. Four teenagers were killed and 19 injured after a train smashed into a school bus outside the town of Perpignan in southern France. The bus, which was carrying teenagers aged between 13 and 17 from a secondary school, was split in two by the force of the crash. Two nephews of Venezuela's First Lady were sentenced to 18 years in prison by a U.S. court for drug trafficking. The two men were arrested in Haiti in November 2015 in a U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration sting operation. Prosecutors had stated that they tried to make $20 million through drug trafficking to help keep their family in power. Hundreds of people in London marched in the near silence through the streets to honor those who died in the Grenfell Tower fire. Friends and relatives of the victims also met firefighters who tackled the blaze. The disaster that killed 71 people had profoundly shocked the nation and fueled a debate over why safety concerns voiced by Tower residents before the fire had been ignored. Britain has expressed grave concerns over the arrest of two Reuters journalists by Myanmar government. Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson said that Britain is committed to freedom of speech and people's ability to report the facts and bring into the public domain what is happening in Rakhine State. A total of 6,000 people were killed last month. A total of 96 African migrants were detained after their boat was intercepted by the Libyan Coast Guard while trying to reach Europe. The migrants, who are mostly from Eritrea, will be sent to the Tariq al-Sika detention center in Tripoli, where hundreds of other migrants are being held. Now, news from Peru. The right-wing opposition party has demanded resignation of President Pedro Pablo. This comes after Brazilian builder Odebrecht reportedly transferred $4.8 billion to companies linked to the president. The opposition wants Vice President Martin Vizcarra replace Kuczynski. Shifting focus to national stories now, the results of the Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh Assembly elections are likely to set the course of the winter session of Parliament beginning today. Several agendas are lined up for the shortest winter session in nearly 2 decades. That will begin and conclude on January 5th. It begins today. The long list of agendas include 25 bills for consideration and passing, 14 bills for introduction, consideration and passing, and 1 bill for withdrawal. Embattled Indian liquor tycoon Vijay Mallya is back in UK court as his extradition hearing resumes. Interestingly, Mallya's defence has now turned focus on the poor condition of Indian jails. His defence fielded a UK-based prison service expert to claim that jails in India are overcrowded with poor hygiene as the defence and prosecution completed submission of all evidence. Chief Minister of Indian State of Tamil Nadu E. Palaniswamy and his deputy O. Paneerselvam campaigned for R.K. Nagar by-elections. These by-polls are a matter of prestige for the ruling AIDMK government. Late AIDMK party chief J. Jayalalitha launched her campaign rallies from R.K. Nagar in 2015 and 16. Back in November, a truce was reached between Palaniswamy and Paneerselvam. AIDMK had split into 2 factions under these leaders after the death of Jayalalitha. Moving on to entertainment now. Jitesh Singh Theo from Lucknow was declared the winner of 2017 Mr. India pageant held on Thursday. Bollywood actor Kangana Ranaut felicitated the winners. In a first, the 24th annual Screen Actors Guild Awards will be presented entirely by women. The organisers also announced Kristen Bell as the first ever host of the award ceremony. NASA and Disney are reportedly planning a special screening of Star Wars: The Last Jedi for astronauts aboard the International Space Station orbiting Earth 400 kilometers away. Hollywood film Gravity has previously been screened aboard ISS. The Queen of Media Oprah Winfrey will be honoured with the Cecil DeMille Award at the 75th Annual Golden Globe Awards on 7th of January. The Lifetime Achievement Award presented by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association will be presented to Winfrey for making an incredible impact on the entertainment world. But before that match at the iconic Faka Stadium commenced, a spot-fixing attempt by 2 Indian bookmakers has come to light. An investigation by the English media outlet The Sun exposed the betting racket where the bookmakers said to have asked for £140,000 to offer details of rigged periods of play in the 3rd test of the Ashes. Cricket Australia has vowed full compliance to any investigation that the International Cricket Council wishes to carry. The ICC itself has said there is no evidence to suggest any fixing attempts were made for the ongoing match at Perth. Moving sports to badminton, India's PV Sindhu has booked her place in the last 4 of the World Super Series finals in Dubai with a thumping win against Japan's Sayaka Sato. The world number 3 opened the competition after a tight 3-game affair against China's Bing Jiao. Against Sato, the World Championship silver medalist put in a dominant display and raced away to a 21-13, 21-12 win in just 36 minutes. She will now face already qualified Akane Yamaguchi of Japan on Friday in a match that will decide who wins the group. In off-field news, International Hockey Federation President Narinder Batra has been elected as the new president of the Indian Olympic Association. He won the election for president against former IOA treasurer Anil Khanna, but the election was a mere formality. With Khanna having announced his decision to back Batra after the last date of the withdrawal, it marks a new beginning for the IOA, which has been in free fall ever since it was suspended by the International Olympic Committee in 2012 and then in 2014.